know who Drew Pavlou is, right? This person, this wacko. I appreciate that, Foodshops, right? Well, okay, so there's this dude named Drew Pavlou, okay? He's a neoliberal, but before all of this, and he was a big fan of Destiny. Um, and honestly, I've never liked the guy. From what little I've seen, at the very least, he seems to be a lolcow, where Bad Empanada is like the lolcow milker, and Drew Pavlou is just like the eternal victim of him. But the thing is that like this Drew Pavlou person apparently has recently, I think, turned conservative and started criticizing Destiny. And he is just straight up now just a Charlie Kirk sympathizer. He even went to a Charlie Kirk vigil as well. And yeah, like he's just been his. You should see his Twitter. His Twitter is just just so much cringe. And I don't know, it's just so cringe. So yeah, Drew Pavlou has did a 180. He's no longer he doesn't seem like a neoliberal anymore, at the very least. And yeah, he's a retard. And there's even like he is so easy to laugh at that there is a online audio of him that seems to be recorded from his side of his father telling him to go get a job. I'm not joking. Like his father is literally telling him to go get a job because you're unemployed as fuck. Okay? Um it's just so embarrassing. It's just so embarrassing. And hopefully during this Wick TV segment, Drew Pavlou is not just circle jerking with the other two and giving out empty platitudes over Charlie Kirk like the cringe lord he is. Okay? Drew Pavlou dad. Yes. Yeah, okay. So here, this is a great example, okay? So this video, this short, is called Drew Pavlou's far-right donor, Simon Fenwick, ran out of money, his dad, to telling him to get a job. And I believe this is probably recorded from Drew Pavlou's end because his audio is the clearest. But
make sure that I can do...
Keep your fucking profile low, okay? Before you go get a fucking job.
I don't care about a job, I'm just trying...
fucking bullshit, I'm not paying for you this your life, dickhead.
I'm fighting for what's right, that's why...
Just keep your fucking profile down before you won't get hired by anybody.
I don't care about the squiggle line, I'm going
Who's
to...
gonna pay for Andrew?
I'm gonna be fine, I'm protesting tomorrow. Make sure that I can
Keep
do...
your fucking profile low.
I don't know why he would record this. I don't know what kind of moron he is, but he is a next level of egotistical retardation, okay? Like, he's delusional. I believe that he has to be delusional. Like, he has to have some kind of mental retardation, or maybe he's autistic or something. Every true American was born in Somalia? Okay, that's weird. Okay, I guess that's good for Krontos, I guess. What is this? Drew Pavlou. I will explain to you why this got a lot of engagement. Holy shit. 141,000 likes. Okay, Jesus Christ. All right, he's been farming. Okay, this is a farmer. Okay, I'll explain to you why. By the way, this person was like groveling before Destiny when he called onto Destiny's stream. And he was just so in awe of his hero, like being in the same fucking voice chat as him, that he just like completely, he has no topics. He just has no topics when he called in. He was just there to bitch about Bad Empanada. But then Destiny was like, oh yeah, okay, well, that's bad, I guess. Just all the times, like all the one time or two times that he's called into Destiny stream has just been so fucking pathetic and so cringe, okay? And now this person has turned right, why left the left, kind of shit. Okay, dude, I see how it is, okay? Listen, we knew this was coming, right? I'll explain to you why the killing of Charlie Kirk pushes me to the right. He had the exact same views as my Trump-supporting parents, who I love. He had the exact same views as half my extended family. By the way, parents who told him to go get a job, okay? Just regular boomer conservatism. Like you, Lamau, wrong! You see, Destiny calls into my stream. That's the difference, mate. That's the difference. I don't call into Destiny's stream, okay? Destiny calls into my stream, okay? Wrong. Okay. And thousands of leftists celebrate him being shot in the neck and bleeding out in front of his 3-year-old daughter, okay? If they want that for Charlie Kirk, they want that for my parents and for other loved ones and my other loved ones. And I won't stand for it because I'm not a suicidal, spiteful mutant with hatred for my own family, my own parents, and my own civilization. I love the people who raised me and I'm loyal to them, and I won't ally myself with people who want to murder them just because they have old-fashioned values that were completely common throughout 99% of modern history. A love of faith, family, church, and nation. Again, just empty platitudes, fully fucking grifting. That's my guess. Obviously there's no evidence for that, but hey, you know, it is what it is, okay? My evidence is that he's a piece of shit, okay, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so here is Wiccan Tally. Unfortunately, I have to say this, okay? I fully disagree with Tally on Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry, I have to say this, okay? Just mainly because I know for a fact that, you know, you are, or psychosis, or both, yeah, maybe, delusions of grandeur, maybe. But listen, Tally, I appreciate you being a dedicated Foodshops fan, okay, but you're absolutely in the wrong here, okay? And as far as I'm concerned, in my eyes, you're still a MAGA person, okay? But, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, also Wick, fuck Wick, okay? This person is a psyop, all right? Just like Not So Erudite and just like Soy Pill, okay? Fuck all these people, okay? Fuck all these people for psyoping Destiny in front of everybody, okay? Fuck that. Fuck that shit, dude. Honestly, on God for real, okay? Holy shit. I mean, here's the thing. I will appreciate Soy Pill for being a part of Unfuck America. I'll appreciate him for being part of that. I'll appreciate Not So Erudite for being so loyal to Steven this entire time, right? But the reality of the situation is that Destiny is currently being dogpiled on by the entire conservative movement in the United States of America. The last thing you should do as a friend, especially when you cite your friendship in that fucking debate, the last thing you should do as a friend is to be in front of a group of conservatives where lots of people might be clipping you and shit, right? To undermine him in front of everyone. If you have a problem with him, especially from your perspective as a friend, you should tell him in private. You should DM him, okay? But otherwise, I'm just gonna assume that you didn't actually ask for Destiny's permission to be debating with him on that sense, from a friend's perspective, okay? So I'm just telling you, weaponizing your friendship like that is cringe, okay? I'm sorry, that's just cringe to me, okay? So, listen, that's just my personal opinion. A friend wouldn't do that. But you, especially as a counselor, as a semi-therapist kind of person, you should know better, okay? Especially you, okay? Mrs. Loyal McPants. And Soy Pill, listen, I look forward when you backstab Destiny before I backstab him, okay? Good luck. All right.
Uh-oh. I don't know. Can you hear us at least, sir? Let's see.
By the way, this is why I can't form any fucking bridges. It's so cringe. Like, I feel like, yeah, like it's so difficult to form any bridges because I feel like I have to be spitting, okay? I feel like I have to be spitting at all times, like say my honest opinions about everyone at all times, and that just prevents me from getting any bridges because I feel like I have to tell the truth. I have to tell the truth, you know. But you know what? Fuck it. You know, whatever, man. I'm good. I think I'm good. Okay, I'm good being honest. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Polly.
this is the real Drew.
This
it
is the
looks
real
like.
Drew. Okay.
Yes, because I have real DMs with this person. So
Okay. Let's see. It's not working. Let me see if I can give him a roll.
Cringe. Drew can't do. Drew cannot figure out how to use any kind of electronic device, like if even if you paid him, okay? And he hasn't had a job in like fucking 50 years by now, okay? This guy's like pushing 70. Hold on. I'm 1.25, okay.
One moment.
Bro, you know what's so depressing? I appreciate Zip Zip and Peach only on the precedents that they haven't done anything to backstab me or to say smack about me. Like I will give them that, okay? I will give them that, or to undermine Destiny, like fucking not so erudite and shit. Like I'm sorry, okay? Like it's just like I can't believe the standards are this low, but the standards are this low. So you know what? I'm playing on these standards, okay? Like I can't believe people in this space are so venomous and so cringe and so like clout hungry like that. One of the biggest examples is like Soy Pill signing up for Unfuck America, right? But then he undermines Destiny in a debate, especially trying to like Fed post like soy post, right? On purpose. Because you're undermining the actual movement. You're undermining the purpose of the political activism, right? You're actively undermining that. That's what it looks like to everyone else, okay? It doesn't matter what your motivations are. It doesn't matter how you talk to someone. I'm sorry, but you're undermining it, okay? You're undermining the actual stated goal of Unfuck America. You're fucking up America, okay? So that's what's going on, all right? But yeah. Okay.
Properly. Tell us a little bit about
No
who
worries,
you are.
no worries. So, I have a very long and winding political journey. I started when I was 19.
I'm sorry that you wanted to get your quick clip or your quick little debate with Steven, okay? So then you can rehash the same thing in front of a fucking MAGA crowd. So then you're able to tell your stupid fucking audience, oh yeah, guys, I fucking talked to Steven and we had a debate. Did I mention that we had a debate? I know how it is, okay? You want debates with big figures because it'll boost your public profile, okay? Especially when he's in the limelight right now. I know exactly what's happening. I know how you're so fucking clout hungry to get the fucking little crumb of clout, even though you guys agree on 99.9% of issues, right? You are a backstabber. You will backstab him. I know it will happen. I know a backstabber when I see one, okay? Just like how I will backstab Steven, okay? But you're welcome.
Held
Right,
a protest at the University of Queensland, which is my college in Brisbane, Australia. My protest was against the Chinese Communist Party, and I was supporting the Hong Kong protesters who were going at the same time. And my university had a really strong relationship
You would backstab Steven for a crumb of clout,
with
okay?
China. Economically, it was worth like 20% of the university's budget. So when I did that protest, they cracked down on me really hard. The Chinese government actually released articles in state media calling for me to be expelled from the university. And then the university actually went through with that, and they spent about $500,000 in Australian taxpayer money to try to expel me. And basically, that was my introduction to politics. From the very start, I was...
Well, like, what do you think is the chances of, like, Drew actually reading any of the books on his fucking shelf? Like, what the fuck?
sort of like attacked really viciously by people on the far left, even
Like,
though
what's
I
going on
identified
there?
as like a
Maybe he
Bernie
does
type
read
guy
it, I
when I
don't know.
started out. I think just because like the issue of China is coded as conservative because Trump was talking about China as well. And unfortunately, as a result, I basically got really brutally smashed for years by the far left. And that was my experience. That's what sort of made me a hardcore... I mean, not hardcore, but that's what made me very strongly an anti-communist. I never would have necessarily started out as a... I would not have even described myself necessarily as an anti-communist when I started out. It was more out of a sort of... I mean, my views when I started out were kind of like Amnesty International style, upset with China's human rights record. It was more coming from a sort of like general humanitarian position. And I still, of course, care about human rights and humanitarian stuff and everything, of course. But I would say that my politics actually evolved into like basically hardline anti-communism because of my experiences with tankies. Years and years of these people cheering on death threats against my family. I was assaulted multiple times. Every time I was physically assaulted, they cheated on. I had a...
I don't even... Dude, is there any, like, evidence at all of, like, him being, like, is there any proof that he's shown? Like, I don't know if maybe he did. Maybe he actually did get assaulted by tankies. What the fuck? But I really doubt that. Like, what tankies don't leave their house. They don't leave their house. They're not gonna assault you, okay? When's the last time you backstabbed someone in Foodshops? Maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. I think 2 years ago. I think 1.5 years ago to 2 years ago, I leaked someone's DMs because I overreacted. And ever since then, I have reconciled with that person, and we're friends now again. But otherwise, I don't quite remember the last time I backstabbed someone. But yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Number of death threats and bomb threats sent against my family. My brother is a college soccer player in America. He had the FBI visit his college dorm room because
Otherwise, I've always had people backstab me first, right? Even Cameron F305 fucking backstabbed me first, right? Was talking smack about me, in front of another fucking VTuber person with a larger audience. So it's like, yeah, like my entire history is like just me being backstabbed first as well. Like it is what it is. Yeah.
they did
Damn.
bomb threats in his they did bomb threats in his name to LAX. And he's not even living in LA, and obviously he was cleared like almost immediately. But they did that to my mum as well, death threats and bomb threats. They got me swatted. I was protesting outside the Chinese embassy in London, and I got swatted. Essentially, the Chinese embassy carried out a bomb threat in my name and reported me to the police, and I was arrested as a terror suspect and held incommunicado.
Bro, I had a mod. I had a mod back then when I was beefing with Keffels who betrayed me for Keffels, dude. Who betrayed me for Keffels. Like, that's how low value and bullyable I was, okay? Like, people thought that they can mine some degree of attention and clout from Keffels to betray me. It's insane. But then again, I was a nobody back then. Fucking 10 viewer Andy, right? 10 to 20 viewer Andy. But yeah, I had a mod back then who did that to me. It was insane.
With no access to lawyers or anything
Keffels.
for like 24
Fucking
hours, which was obviously
Keffels.
extremely confronting and scary. And this was basically enough for me over many years to see how brutal the far left is. These people were cheering it on the whole time, everything terrible that happened to me. And eventually I just decided, like, you know, these people are evil and they want me to be dead, and I'm not suicidal, so therefore I am an anti-communist. And that's how I sort of became really hard line against the far left. It was literally just a response to my experiences. And of course, I was really sickened by world events, especially over the past 2 years, like since October 7, seeing how people immediately celebrated that. And it was mostly the same people who I knew, like, supported the Chinese government's actions in Tibet and all these horrible things. Mostly the same sorts of tankies. The people like Jackson Hinkle, basically. And the way that they all celebrate October 7, and even just the fact that I had a lot of progressive friends at university who immediately celebrated it. I mean, I just saw all the atrocities as they took place unfolding live. Like, I was glued to Twitter that entire day. I was watching the imagery that showed Hamas massacring people, etc. Just the piles of... there was one image that I'll never forget. It's the piles of elderly people, the piles of corpses outside the bus station in southern Israel when they just drove past the bus station and just massacred a bunch of elderly people.
Yeah, that's
Okay, all right. Is there a transcript for this? Can I see like what they talk about in terms of like Destiny or Charlie Kirk or something? Yeah, like otherwise like this guy is rough. Okay, hold on, let me see. There is only one Australian accent out there I prefer from a specific somebody, and it's not Drew. Okay. Use the YouTube AI? Oh, that's fine. Charlie Kirk was assassin. Okay. Alright. I just want to skip to the brain rot. Okay. Right here.
Was right up there in Congress. She immediately was giving a speech basically denouncing the legacy of Charlie Kirk, basically saying, oh, he's an evil person, all this sort of stuff. And it's like...
Wait. Is he talking about AOC?
kind of people out there on the left and the right were horrified at Kirk's death. They did not celebrate it.
Two things, right? Like, one, I understand the argument that this is just the algorithm feeding extreme content, but that doesn't explain why there are like literally more than 10 progressive kids that I went to university with that I was friends with for years, who their instinctual reaction was to celebrate. It doesn't explain that. These are people I know in real life who instinctually celebrate it. And second,
yeah, but they're not commentators or okay.
It doesn't explain why. Like, AOC literally yesterday was right up there in Congress. She immediately was giving a speech basically denouncing the legacy of Charlie Kirk, basically saying, oh, he's an evil person, all this sort of stuff.
Okay, well, let's take a look at that, Drew. You know what? My Vyvanse is kicking in, and I'm ready to research today, okay? Before, I was too lazy, okay? I was too distracted, but now the Vyvanse has motivated me, indeed, to act upon intuition. Okay, AOC, Charlie Kirk. Okay. Well.
We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant.
True.
And accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from the working, quote, working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution. We should be.
How is this like, fuck, dude, his legacy is literally Hitler. Like, I'm sorry, but like, she is literally saying that his legacy is Hitler. How could you celebrate? How could you bash AOC for that? How could you bash AOC for that? AOC is absolutely correct. Is there any kind of descriptive fact here that Drew contends with that is untrue? Like, is there any kind of descriptive fact here that Drew thinks is untrue? Or are these all just truths, right? These are all things that that Charlie Kirk has done and said, but people are whitewashing him, right? People are whitewashing him. If anything, shouldn't it be like, isn't his legacy bad simply because like why defend? You are betraying his legacy by whitewashing it, okay? You're betraying who he is at his core by whitewashing him. At his core is a violent, misogynist, racist, transphobic, fucking homophobic, Christian, nationalist, far-rightist, okay? This is who you're celebrating, okay? If you take any of these out of his legacy, Drew, okay, or anybody for the count who is lionizing him right now, you are betraying his legacy. You're the one disrespecting his corpse. You're the one desecrating his corpse, okay? Not me, not any other fucking left-winger, not anything else, okay? You betray who Charlie Kirk truly was, okay? Is it not good to celebrate who he truly was? An evil person? An evil person. If you want to celebrate evil, you should celebrate evil in the limelight, okay? Don't celebrate evil when it's half-face, right? You are celebrating, it's like celebrating Two-Face, right? After Two-Face dies, you're only celebrating the part where he is like the human half, but you're not celebrating the grotesque half, right? Same thing. He's Harvey Dent. He's Harvey Dent. It's literally celebrating Harvey Dent, right? Literally, yeah.
It's like,
Hold on, you can say that? That's not celebrating the murder.
Okay, let me
That's not justifying the murder. That's not condoning the murder. And the fact that you're lumping in AOC with the people you were saying are celebrating the murder, that's the problem.
Okay,
that's the problem, right?
Good. Wick is pushing back. Good. I have lost all faith in Wick. But Wick, perhaps this is your chance to redeem yourself. Just a little bit, okay? Who knows? Okay, we'll take a look.
I'm not saying that she's necessarily celebrating the murder, but this is the hypocrisy that I want to call out, right?
But you were just talking about the people you saw in your life who celebrated the murder, and you went into AOC as if they were the same.
Okay, but let me
Are glasses the new norm? No, just today.
Let me explain what I mean by AOC, right?
Because we have court documents that we read, okay?
Again, I know that she formally condemned the murder, but this is what I'm trying to point out. So when this happened, right? If you go back 5 years when George Floyd was killed, and again, it was a horrible killing, he should never have died. But when George Floyd was killed, you didn't see AOC immediately get up in Congress and deliver a speech like, guys, we need to consider the fact that he had all these previous convictions and that he had held a gun against a woman's stomach and almost killed somebody in a home invasion. Nobody did that, right? So
because he wasn't a political public figure like Kirk was for years.
But you can say that.
There's a difference.
George Floyd was not going onto the podium in front of millions and millions of people to farm content off of being a violent, misogynist, racist. Even if George Floyd is racist, misogynist, violent, doesn't matter, okay? The harm that Charlie Kirk has done to the greater American whole is far greater than one George Floyd, period, throughout the span of their life, okay? Which is why it warrants mention, okay? Which is why it warrants mention by AOC, okay?
Also, no, but dude, it's not simply the fact that I've seen people make that take where they said, oh, well, it was just actually objecting to his killing. We weren't actually venerating him. But
wait, hold on. Wait, Drew. Drew, we can
yeah.
we can answer this quickly. Wick,
yeah.
When George Floyd was killed, okay, and you had people immediately coming out and saying, or when anyone gets, when there's a black man killed or there's someone killed, right, in a famous thing and it's caught on camera, And people immediately go out and look for that person's criminal history, right? And then you have people who immediately come out and say, this guy had all of these different crimes. He was arrested here, here, and there. He was a threat to society. Why are those people saying that?
Depends. A lot of them will say things like, yes, he should have never been in this situation. If the criminal justice system had been doing its job, he would never have died. There are people who are doing it like that. That's fine to do. That's a fine argument to make. There's nothing to
Wait, but isn't the point that she is bringing up here in favor of my point? Because the entire point of this entire drama is that it's double standards, right? We're talking about the discrepancy in standards here. This is what we're talking about, right? So how could you say that you acknowledge that there are conservatives willing to dig up George Floyd's history, but you're not okay with somebody else digging up Charlie Kirk's stated public discourse? Are you actually out of your fucking mind? This is the double standards we are here for, but you recognize it, but you don't see it as an issue. What is wrong with you?
About that. But there are other people who are doing it who are saying, and that's why I'm glad he's dead. But here's the thing. Those people will say that 90% of the time. They will say, and that's why he deserved it. AOC did not do this. Many on the left are not doing this. They are saying,
you're right.
Bro, I'm sorry, when Wick is the reasonable voice in your debate, when Wick is the reasonable voice in your panel, it is over. You need to reevaluate your life, sign up for a psychiatrist and a therapist immediately, get a dietitian because you're likely morbidly obese, over 35 BMI, okay? Because chances are, when Wick is the voice of reason, your life has made a wrong turn about 15 years ago, and it's been in a downward spiral ever since. No girlfriend, no wife, no children, no hoes, okay?
Political violence there are many on the left who are not that crude. They are not as crude as some of the people on the right who would speak like that. And this is, so listen, I think there is a lot of things that are getting lumped together. And like, I don't know if I'm going to put AOC in the same category. And by the way, I think a lot of this speech, there's so much plausible deniability that it's like, it's nothing that we can like, it's not a, they're not committing an offense by doing this. But you had people after the embassy workers shooting who came out and said, of course they should not have been shot. But, you know, they did work for the genocidal Zionist regime. And, you know, they were there getting together, planning on how they could block aid from getting into Gaza. Violence is never the answer. They should not have been shot. We need gun restrictions now, right? You can say all those things. And when the other half of your butt, you are giving a rationalization, even if that's not the purpose. And like you said, there are people with multiple purposes, right? There are some people in the George Floyd case, right, who are just trying to say, look at all the failures of the system leading up to this. There's some people in the Charlie Kirk case who are saying, well, you know, I don't want to whitewash or sanitize this, right? But there are other people who are saying, well, yeah, he was kind of a piece of shit, so whatever. I don't really care. Like, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, like yes. And I think too, like, you can say that it's a tiny portion of people who are celebrating, and we can put Charlie Kirk even like to the side because, especially when you know, Charlie Kirk said a lot of inflammatory things that were going to upset a lot of people. That's sort of undeniable. But even when we think back to the Luigi Mangione shooting, there was that from. I didn't think I could be really shocked anymore, but I was shocked by how many normal people.
But when you saw the polling on it. And this is the thing. This is exactly. Thank you for bringing up Luigi Mangione.
You ready for my take for Luigi Mangione? You ready for my take? I think that anyone is allowed to make fun of Luigi Mangione's victim. I think anyone should be allowed to make fun of Luigi Mangione, even though the act of violence is not good, okay? Yes, the act of vigilantism is not good, but it should be your free right principle to do so. It should be your free right principles to mock and disrespect whoever you choose to mock and disrespect, okay? The problem here is that we have a situation where the death of a political commentator is backed up with the power of the state, okay? The power of the state is backing up the death of Charlie Kirk. And the power of the state is shutting down any kind of criticism, any kind of mention. If you're not grieving the right way, we will shut you down, Jimmy Kimmel, right? If you're not, if you're making fun of Trump, we will shut you down, right? So the reality of the situation is that the whole Luigi Mangione thing, it's bad, but it's not backed up by nuclear power, okay? But in this case, Charlie Kirk his words are backed up by nuclear power, okay? And it's not by Gandhi, it's by Trump, who has access to nuclear bombs. So literally, he is quite literally backed up by nuclear power, okay? So you can argue however you like about Luigi Mangione, okay? But however, the reality of the situation is that, again, you missed the entire point of all of these parallels. You know exactly what's going on, and you're just completely fucking it up in your head, okay? But yeah, whatever, man. It is what it is.
Mangione. Because when you saw the polling of this, it was like very, very small percentage of people who were actually okay with it. Okay, so we're being shown this 5% of the public, and we're assuming it's 50%, and that's the issue I'm having. Anyway,
fine, but again, but first of all, it doesn't need to be critical mass for it to be a problem. It doesn't need to be 51% for it to be a problem. And again, to Drew's point, it's not just the crazy people online. It's not.
Isn't it interesting how these people, including Wick, by the way, these people are more than willing to talk about the left and are obsessed with talking about the left and all the wrongs that the left has done, but never ever focus on the current administration that is actually in power? Doesn't that make you think for a little bit that maybe these so-called moderates, not including Drew, I guess, but these so-called moderates aren't actually moderate, but are apologists for the Trump regime? That these people are some of the most reprehensible people to ever walk the face of this earth? That these people are worse than MAGA because MAGA is obviously insane and these people are more insidious? Really makes you think, don't it?
Just the, borderline personality TikTokers. It is random people that you went to high school with and middle school with and college with posting these like nihilistic, super snide remarks on social media. And again, even if they're not saying, well, I'm glad he's dead or he deserved it, they are leaning into the political messaging of, well, maybe now we'll finally have a conversation about healthcare in America. Like that is a rationalization of the violent murder against Brian Thompson. And again, I don't think any one of those individuals saying these things are inherently evil. And I don't think that they should be culpable for any crime. They're not responsible for the murder. I don't think that they're trying to encourage it in the.
I would not lump Wick in with that at all, but he does the apologism stuff, right? He does it. He does it just like Not So Erudite. He does it just like Soy Pill a little bit, right? So the thing is, and the reality is that, yes, sure, Wick is better than these two, 100%. He voted for Kamala Harris, right? He's a voter. But the reality is that it's not just about the vote, right? It's about the rhetoric that you spew. And the problem is that Wick still doesn't recognize the game theory is at hand, right? But, I mean, here's the thing. Wick really isn't as bad as these two. 100%. I fully agree with you, okay? But you know what I mean, okay?
Future. But we had conversations about like stochastic terrorism and stuff and the way that people rationalize these horrible events. And again, I get defensive because people make the exact same accusations about me. Like, oh, yeah, Tali only changed her political views because people online were mean to her. And then I say the same thing as Drew. Well, no, actually, it wasn't people online, right? It was people in my real life. It was the people around me, my peers, my cohort. And it's not an.
By the way, this is not the correct way to view politics. If people in your vicinity are the people who forces you to change or something like that because they're too cringe for some reason, or you think that maybe they're not panning out for you anymore, maybe you should reevaluate the way that you engage with politics. Do you determine what your politics to be based off of spite, or do you determine what your politics to be based off of policy and based off of what people actually do, right? It doesn't matter if people online are mean to you and that's why you change your politics. It doesn't matter if people IRL are mean to you and you change your politics. What matters is that shouldn't matter in the first place. You should be making a self-deterministic analysis of the policy, of the administration, of the government, of the world leader. You are a moron. You are an inbred retard. You are drooling out the side of your mouth and you're trying to scrape over to get a napkin to clean up that drool, even though your hand is filled with cancer cells. So therefore you can barely make a fucking 30-degree angle movement to grab the nearest tissue to wipe that fucking drool off of your fucking mouth, okay? You are chromosomally talented.
And not everyone is as crazy as the most extreme fringe far left people, but a lot of more normal people have absorbed a lot of this. And it's easy to say, Wick, hold on. It's easy to say, it's easy to say, like, this is not everyone. You're painting with too broad a brush. That's fine. But the problem
it's not just easy.
Like
it's correct to say this. It's correct.
Okay, sure.
It's
but
just
the problem,
true.
Sure,
and the problem is when we point out, like, Elon Musk did this, and I
would like the court to have a recess. I have to take a piss. Okay, recess. Quick quick court recess, okay? All right, I'm gonna play this last like what time sound are we in? 110. Quick recess, okay? Right back.
Okay,
That's
let
the
me respond
problem,
to that.
right?
I'm not saying that she's necessarily celebrating the murder, but this is the hypocrisy that I want to call out, right?
But you were just talking about the people you saw in your life who
finish my
celebrated the murder, and you went into AOC as if they were the same.
Okay, but let me explain what I mean by AOC, right? Again, I know that she formally condemned the murder, but this is what I'm trying to point out. So when this happened, right? If you go back 5 years when George Floyd was killed, and again, it was a horrible killing, he should never have died. But when George Floyd was killed, you didn't see AOC immediately get up in Congress and deliver a speech like, guys, we need to consider the fact that he had all these previous convictions and that he had held a gun against a woman's stomach and almost killed somebody in a home invasion. Nobody did that, right? So
because he wasn't a political public figure like Kirk was for years.
But you can say that.
There's a
but
difference.
There was also, no, but dude, it's not simply the fact that I've seen people make that take where they said, "Oh, well, it was just actually objecting to his killing. We weren't actually venerating him." But
wait, hold on. Wait, Drew. Drew, we can answer this quickly. Quick.
Yeah.
When George Floyd was killed, okay, and you had people immediately coming out and saying, or when anyone gets, when there's a black man killed or there's someone killed, right, in a famous thing, and it's caught on camera. And people immediately go out and look for that person's criminal history, right? And then you have people who immediately come out and say, this guy had all of these different crimes. He was arrested here, here, and there. He was a threat to society. Why are those people saying that?
Depends. A lot of them will say things like, yes, he should have never been in this situation. If the criminal justice system had been doing its job, he would never have died. There are people who are doing it like that. That's fine to do. That's a fine argument to make. There's nothing condemnable about that. But there are other people who are doing it who are saying, and that's why I'm glad he's dead. But here's the thing. Those people will say that 90% of the time. They will say, and that's why he deserved it. AOC did not do this. Many on the left are not doing this. They are saying political violence
because there are many
is
on
never
the
okay.
left who are not that crude. They are not as crude as some of the people on the right who would speak like that. And this is, so listen, I think there is a lot of things that are getting lumped together. And like, I don't know if I'm going to put AOC in the same category. And by the way, I think a lot of this speech, there's so much plausible deniability that it's like, it's nothing that we can like, they're not committing an offense by doing this, but you had people after the embassy workers shooting who came out and said, of course they should not have been shot, but they did work for the genocidal Zionist regime. And, they were there getting together, planning on how they could block aid from getting into Gaza. Violence is never the answer. They should not have been shot. We need gun restrictions now, right? You can say all those things. And when the other half of your butt, you are giving a rationalization, even if that's not the purpose. And like you said, there are people with multiple purposes, right? There are some people in the George Floyd case, right, who are just trying to say, look at all the failures of the system leading up to this. There's some people in the Charlie Kirk case who are saying, well, I don't want to whitewash or sanitize this, right? But there are other people who are saying, well, yeah, he was kind of a piece of shit, so whatever, I don't really care. Like, yes. And I think too, like, you can say that it's a tiny portion of people who are celebrating, and we can put Charlie Kirk even like to the side, because especially when Charlie Kirk said a lot of inflammatory things that were going to upset a lot of people. That's sort of undeniable. But even when we think back to the Luigi Mangione shooting, there was that I didn't think I could be really shocked anymore, but I was shocked by how many normal people.
But when you saw the polling on it, and this is the thing, this is exactly, thank you for bringing up Luigi Mangione, because when you saw the polling of this, it was like very, very small percentage of people who were actually okay with it. Okay, so we're being shown this 5% of the public, and we're assuming it's 50%, and that's the issue I'm having. Anyway,
but again, but first of all, it doesn't need to be critical mass for it to be a problem. It doesn't need to be 51% for it to be a problem. And again, to Drew's point, it's not just the crazy people online. It's not just the borderline personality TikTokers. It is random people that you went to high school with and middle school with and college with posting these like nihilist.
And so I return. Have I been missed? Hello. Okay, so let's skip to 110 because that's where we left off, right here.
Say like,
okay.
This is not everyone. You're painting with too broad a brush. That's fine. But the problem
it's not just easy.
Like
it's correct to say this. It's correct.
Okay, sure.
It's
but
just true. And the problem is, when we point out, like Elon Musk did this, and it was very inappropriate when he would say things like, "We need to fight back. The left wants to kill you," right? When they say things like, when the other side wants you dead, we can't live with these people anymore. They're taking...
I find it interesting how Wick's tone has kind of changed since Jimmy Kimmel got canceled. I wonder if Jimmy Kimmel is like his favorite fucking show, and when he saw that he got canceled, he instantly changed his mind because he couldn't bear seeing like Jimmy Kimmel get like fucking obliterated, I guess. I don't fucking know. I wonder how much of that is true, but it is what it is.
Again, a 1% problem and making it a 20% problem or a 50% problem. And we need to have we need to get back to reality, gang. We need to stop letting these rage baits bait us. And that's, anyway, Drew, you want to go? But that's what we're going to talk about next.
So
rage baiting. Go ahead.
This is the problem, right? It is 20%. The reality is it is about 20%. So let me explain that figure. There's maybe a
huge
hardcore
number.
Yeah,
huge number.
So there's maybe a hardcore, right? There's a hardcore of 4 or 5% who will literally outright go, I'm glad that he's dead. Look at the blood coming out of his neck. It's awesome. Like those people who literally posted straight up like cartoons like of just Charlie Kirk with blood shooting out of his neck. That's 5%, right? But the problem is that there is now this is where I got so
sorry.
This
not
is what drove
funny.
me
Not
away
funny.
from the left. There is the tankies, the far left, right? It's 5%. But then there are too many people in the center left who've basically been infected by them or make excuses for them. And I'll give you an example, right? Like somebody like Pisco. Pisco is not a tanky, but he's someone who like literally was saying to Destiny, oh bro, like if the choice is between Hassan Piker or Trump, I'm choosing Hassan Piker. And it's like, no, dude, Hassan Piker literally wants to basically kill Tyler.
Wait, stop! I mean, it's a dumb question in the fucking first place, right? And this has always been everyone's fucking position, except for Pisco, I guess. But it's always been a stupid fucking question. Like, there could be a reality out there that Trump is worse than Hassan Piker, but it could be a reality out there where Hassan is legitimately worse than Trump, right? So the thing is that it's a stupid fucking question. It doesn't tell us anything. It doesn't tell us anything, no matter what answer you give. It doesn't. So I don't know why the fuck you're trying to hinge any kind of fucking standard based off of Pisco's asking of that question or like someone's answer off of that question even, right? God, he's such a fucking inbred moron retard. God, he's so fucking stupid, dude.
Because she's Jewish. So I'm never in a million years ever like working with
Okay, please don't take people answering a hypothetical that's meant to be extreme and insane as a indicative of their actual positions on things. I have problems with Pisco too. I get it. Look, Pisco can be a lot, right? I like him a lot of times. I don't like him a lot of other times, right? We go the round.
What the fuck did you take? I am on coffee and I'm on 30 milligrams of Vyvanse right now, okay?
He's a very annoying guy. Very annoying guy.
But at the end of the day, like, this is an extreme hypothetical meant to illustrate like a point, but don't take him like it's a hard decision, right?
But people like Pisco.
But and just real quick, this 20% number you said, you just pulled it out your ass, man.
No, because
you just pulled it out your ass.
You're asking me to estimate. This is based on my own personal experience. Maybe the tankies are like 5% of the left. But the problem is that there are too many people on the center left who are basically like, oh, listen, the tankies on our side, we're never going to punch left because the real problem is Trump. That's the people like Pisco, right? And I can't stand that because you have to punch left.
Yes.
I agree. I punch left a lot, right? I agree with you, but I would never.
But Wick, you have to come to the light, okay? Wick, you have to realize that these are the people that you have to try to convince to vote for to vote for the left in the next fucking midterm elections. You're never gonna convince these people. Look at these people. You've been trying to side with them for centuries at this point. They're not your base. They're not your allies. These people are evil people, and they'll find every single possible excuse possible to vote for Trump again because the left hurt their feelings. Oh, wait, no, it's not because the left hurt your feelings. It's because of shitters. It's because of poop fart, of whatever the fuck reason they want to come up with, right? Fuck me, dude.
Never say that most of the left is celebrating Charlie Kirk because that's just not true. I'm not saying most,
but it's too high a portion. It's too high a portion. It's people like Pisco.
It is too high a portion, but it is much less of a portion that the people.
Man, Wick is actually mad for once. He's mad because Jimmy Kimmel, his favorite fucking show, because he has a bad sense of humor, got canceled, okay?
People are trying to claim it is, but you are right. Even one is too high.
You know that you are somewhat of an exception. I'm not saying of like the everyday American, the everyday voter or whatever, but of the people who are like plugged in and having this conversation and making the most impact and stuff, you are among the exceptions. And you get a lot of shit for being that, for being too friendly to people on the right, you know, for having too hard of a line against the communists and the socialists and stuff like that. So you get shit for it.
I get shit by internet people who are like 1%.
Sure, Wick. Okay, fine. I'm not saying that shit is supposed to trigger you. That's not what I'm saying. But we have different thresholds of what we find acceptable. And you maybe find some of it more acceptable than people like Drew and I do. One of the problems that I see, again, I'll just base this on myself, but I think it's true for Drew, because I think I started this ideological evolution a couple years before Drew.
Did Tally just call Drew Jew?
Drew did. And yes, I also moved to the right. I definitely moved to the right. A lot of my mainstream, like positions are not in line with the mainstream Democratic position anymore. But
Do you regret your vote for Trump?
No one, hold on. No one on the right recognizes me as part of the right. I'm not like trying to move into the right. There are a lot of things on the right that are And way worse than Trump. Like the people on the far right and the dissident right, those people are much more concerning to me. There is major rot on the right, and Drew sees this too because he argues with a lot of these people. But the problem that I think people like me have.
Oh yeah, guys, please follow me on kick.com/foodshops. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck like YouTube is doing these days, but just in case YouTube is like ramping up its demonetization shit, I'm gonna need you guys to help me out here, okay? You can find me at Foodshops on Rumble, and you can find me at Foodshops on Kick as well, okay? It's not Foodshops. It's not Foodshops was taken. It's just simply Foodshops, okay? So yeah, just so you know. Also join my Discord server so then you can stay updated, and my Twitter as well, okay? Which is not Foodshops. Sorry, yes, I know, okay? A lot of not Foodshops. Foodshops was taken, Foodshops, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get it, okay? Anyway, that's about it, okay? Please follow me, thank you. Just in case I get punished for all the crazy things that I've been saying, okay? Yeah, just so you know, YouTube, I'm against violence. I am deeply against violence. Violence makes me uncomfortable and anxious. Thank you.
There is no space for people like me and Drew on the left because the things that we say are just too triggering. They're just unacceptable. They're just.
If Talia is a part of this community, why is she still retarded? Well, the thing is that we have a lot of people in this community who have different beliefs than me, okay? Like, for example, we have anti-fans in this community. Did you know that? We have anti-fans who watch us a lot. So, you know, it is what it is, okay? And it's not like they hate watch me, okay? They're actual genuine fans, okay? So, I mean, it is what it is. Take it as you will, okay?
Bigoted to this and that.
You are,
so it's like,
Holly, you are my co-host. I am
told.
on the left. What do you mean that there's no space for you?
There isn't. Even you are like...
Because I disagree with you on a few things doesn't mean there's not space for you. This is a problem. I should be...
Oh my god, are they breaking up? Please break up. Please break up. Oh my god, let's go.
To disagree with either you, Drew, or you, Tolly, and not have it push you away because we agree more than we do or we don't.
Wait, you are a moderate.
Go ahead,
You are a moderate.
Go ahead, Drew.
People in your family.
Chasers, wrong. According to the data, they're not, okay? Because when I polled them, I'm just gonna say this right now, all right? They're here for my views and my style of commentary. You're welcome, okay? I mean, only like, what, 30% were like people here who are here for the fucking girlfriend experience? Yeah.
Family and all this stuff around you.
Also, Wick W, okay? Wick W. Fuck it, I'll say Wick W, okay? Loyal ass friend to Destiny. Still a dipshit for some of his views, okay? But you know what? He's coming around, okay? You can tell he's coming around. Maybe, hopefully. Okay, hopium, copium. Okay, I don't know.
Let's say that, right? Wick, you're a...
Oh, your links are in the description. That's easier? Yeah, exactly.
Nice guy. You're obviously a moderate.
You don't know me. I could be an asshole, Drew.
Okay, but what I'm saying though, right, is the reality is that both Talia and I are met with essentially full blanket hostility by the left. At this point, that's what both of us are. Yes. And I think one of the big things for me was when Zoran Mondani won, there were a number of centre-left people, even people like Ezra Klein, who I really respect, who were like, oh, you know what? Actually, we have to accept that Zoran is part of our coalition. And it's like, no, it should never be accepted like that. Like, this guy basically spent years and years talking about how he hated America. All these years where he was basically sympathetic to hardcore extremists on the far left and people who literally...
Like, how are these people different from, like, MAGA people? Like, they fucking hate Zoran as well. Like they spew the same fucking talking points as the people who hate Zoran with a burning passion. In fact, if anything, I think they do actually hate Zoran with a burning passion. So, like, again, I just don't really get, like, what is the precise difference of, like, between these people, all right? I mean, I guess Drew is now conservative, so, like, it's, like, whatever. But what about Tally, right? Like, what the fuck? Their opinions are more aligned with conservatives more than anything, right? And yet at the same time, they tell me to my face, oh, I'm not conservative. I'm not conservative. I'm not conservative. What are you talking about, mate? What the fuck?
Have called for killing Jews. Like, he literally sits down with Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. And then Ezra Klein's like, oh, well, Zoran's a little bit more left than I am, but he should be included in the coalition. So that's, for me, the breaking point. If Zoran is included in the coalition, how am I in the coalition? Of course I'm Australian. I'm just talking...
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Like, Australians are Australian.
The dankest dungeon.
Yo, Destiny, thank you so much for the one gifted sub on Kick. Thank you. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you.
And fair enough. But when it comes to, like, Mamdani, I feel no need to have an opinion on him because I can't vote on Mamdani. I'm not even in New York City, right? Like, I have no opinion that matters. But here, my point.
We're talking about the culture.
Yeah, my point is I think that it's very okay to have a discussion in our culture about how much we should invite people like Mamdani into the coalition. I'm with you that I don't think we should. I don't think we should. I agree with you, but I don't let it make me more right-wing. I don't abandon my party. I don't abandon my position because people disagree with me. I'm here.
First of all, our position...
I think you guys are. You say you are.
Also, our positions have changed. Hold on. And Drew, I wonder if you will come to see this differently too, because I think sometimes you don't help yourself in the way that you describe your journey, because at least for me, I feel two things. I do feel again, abandoned by the left or whatever. Like the things that I believe are just outside of the Overton window that the left is willing to accept. A, but that's because B, my views on a lot of things did change. You know, I started reading different things and listening to different things, and it's not good to get stuck into a right-wing echo chamber either. And I spend most of my time getting beat up in liberal spaces lately anyway. But it's not, oh, these people are mean to me and so I throw my principles away or I throw my party away. It's like it's saying that the party is not going in a direction that I want it to. And that's, I think, the problem that like people like Connor and stuff have. It's like, you know, people are like, oh, the real pressure on Connor now has been like, why don't you just officially call yourself a Democrat? You know, like you voted for Kamala, you vote with us, whatever, you're edged up, why don't you call yourself a Democrat?
Because
and
he's not.
Just, like screaming, he's
a Republican. And that's okay to be.
I'm not
it's okay
like
to be
you.
a Republican,
right.
but he stands on business, 10 toes, right? That's what makes counterpoints.
So
that's what makes counterpoints a better person, right? Is because he won't be pushed by people on the other side. So, Tali, I'm going to ask you again. Do you regret your vote for Trump?
You're so funny, Wick. Just like taking out people. First of all, you can at least read it.
Wait, why the fuck won't you answer the fucking question? Why the fuck aren't you answering the fucking... Fuck you. Answer the question. Dude, just answer the fucking question, dude. Holy shit. There's no point in answering the... There's no point in continuing a debate if she won't answer this question. Okay? Like, literally none.
That this was a super chat.
It's a very simple yes or no question. It's barely a maybe. It's barely a nuanced thing. It's a very simple yes or no. And like pull the fucking pull the Pisco tactic. Pull the Pisco tactic on her.
We'll get to the super chats. I
don't like with the Trump administration. I'm being as honest as I possibly can, and no one likes my answer, so I really don't give a shit at this point. I am not happy with what the Trump administration has been doing. Nothing. It's completely.
This is the dankest dungeon.
Irma True, thank you so much for the one gifted sub. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Unprincipled. There's no wins that have come so far for me. Directionally, some of the things are things that I would like to see, but no, I have no love for Trump or the MAGA movement or any of these things. I wouldn't go back and vote for Kamala. People don't like that answer. That's my answer.
What about you, Drew? If you were an American and you could vote in an American election, who would you have voted for? Knowing what you do now, like being.
Yeah.
Wait, how is Tally not a pipeline? Like how is Tally not a pipeline to the right? Right? Because you see somebody like Tally, right? Like, for example, let's just say Drew is still on the border, right? And Drew is no longer not really like fully conservative right now. How is Drew, the person who is like questioning his beliefs, this is assuming he has genuine beliefs, okay? Which he does not, by the way. But like, this is assuming he has genuine beliefs. Like, how does he not get enraptured by Tally's whispers of conservative seduction and then just turn to the right? She's literally a pipeline. She's a living, breathing pipeline to the right. Yeah?
Right now, who would you have voted for?
Like she defends Drew, she talks with Drew. She is more than willing to argue with her like co-host Wick, right? It's insane to me.
Or in 2024, Kamala or Trump?
Look, great question. Because I still think I could. I don't think I could ever say that I could vote for Trump because I still really dislike things like January 6th and stuff like that. I dislike stuff like the FCC censoring Jimmy Kimmel. I dislike his economic policies, a lot of different things. But I do have to.
How could you say your dislike means nothing? By the way, I'm just saying this right now. Your dislike implies that you can be turned against Trump as a point, right? Because when you say that you dislike something, you're implying that once you dislike something enough, and once the dislikes begin to amount up, that you will turn against Trump, right? You will turn against Trump once the dislikes begin to amass to a certain amount. That is your implication, okay? No matter what your intention is, this is what you're implying, okay? However, why the fuck would you say that you dislike something if you won't, if you still, like, if you lived in the United States, you would still vote for Trump, right? Like, there's no point in saying that you dislike something, because every single dislike for Trump that is mentioned from a moderate or a conservative end, it is meant to justify or sandwash his insane behavior as the president of the free world. So yeah, like, in fact, it's insane. It's part of the sandwashing. When you say you dislike something, you are implying that enough dislikes will make you dislike Trump, which is not true, which is not fucking true, right? This is the insidious element of this entire thing, right? The insidious element is that you're implying that your mind can even be changed. But let's just be honest here. The only person that can change your mind is yourself. The only person that can possibly lower your ego so then you would consider people other than yourself is yourself. The only person who is able to convince you to care for other human beings that live in this fucking country is in fact yourself, right? Why the fuck do other people have to do this job for you, okay? You, as your own independent adult who is likely older than me, all of these people are older than me, okay? So I don't know why these fucking old fucking losers wouldn't, like take some time to introspect for once and ask themselves inside, like, am I really having the right opinion, or am I doing the right thing by having my politics based off of who's around me and off of vibes, right? And like absolute moron, degenerate, like fucking, I hate these people. Fuck! Okay.
I agree with the deportations.
Chill.
Not necessarily the way that they're going about it. Like
I'm a peace-loving person, okay? I'm peace-loving. I love everyone, okay? I wish nobody harm. Okay. All right. We're good.
I think they have been too harsh in how they've treated individual cases and stuff like that. But you have to have a border. You have to have tough on crime policies. And stuff like bringing in the National Guard to LA and bringing in the National Guard to DC, I don't think I'm necessarily against it because I don't like rioting and I don't like crime. And
do you think that the federal government should be able to override a state? Right? Like, well,
people said
DC,
that it was
we're going to take
dictatorship. Nothing happened though. Nothing really happened in LA.
We're going to take DC off the table for a minute because there's a real legal question about who has ownership, I guess, for lack of a better term, over DC. But when we talk about Chicago, or we talk about LA, and we talk about these places where the state, right, normally is the one to invite the federal government to take control of the National Guard if they need, right? Like, it is from request of the state's government.
Here's a big problem, right? Here's a big problem. Like, you had JB Pritzker, and it's funny, JB Pritzker literally retweeted me like 6 months ago, so obviously my political trajectory has been funny, but JB Pritzker was like literally interviewed, and someone was like, the journalist was like, oh, there were 20 killings over the weekend, and he just goes, yeah, that's life in Chicago. It's like, so these, unfortunately...
You a better person than I am? Wrong. I'm not a better person than most people. I'm not. I'm just a regular fucking moron who's just roaming the streets. If you didn't know that I was a fucking streamer, right? The reality of the situation is that I don't think it takes much of a great intellect. It doesn't take much of a great, like, intuition to arrive at these conclusions, right? Because, again, the problem is that people online like these are using regular day-to-day language in order to obfuscate or to sweep for their own insane, insidious ideas, right? So yeah, like in my opinion, I'm able to draw that link, but in reality, if you sing enough of this, anyone can figure it out. So yeah, like these people are insane. Yeah, these people are unhinged. Yeah.
The problem is that a lot of these Democratic politicians, like, they're just so blasé about it. They just don't care. They're just so nonchalant about this. And then you go, well, the Democratic politicians didn't invite the National Guard to the state. I was like, but at the same time, they just don't even see a problem with 20 people getting killed every weekend in their city, which is fucking mental. So this is my problem, right?
But these are two separate issues.
The problem is I don't necessarily like Trump. I don't necessarily like Trump and his methods, but the problem is there is just this massive, massive problem on the left where they literally just don't see any... They have no conception of civilization. They have no conception of...
You know what this is? You know what this actually is? It's like that one guy who is addicted to BP Dussy and just like won't get off like that fucking like gorilla grip vagina. So then all they do is that they get attached to it, and no matter how many times that moron complains about that girl, that person is just addicted to that gorilla grip pussy, okay? And nothing will pry him off of it, right? Because the thing is that like you keep coming back to the same fucking BBD girl over and over and over again like a fucking moron sped, okay? And then you refuse to see the fact that she's not good for you overall. Instead, you're addicted to that gorilla grip pussy, okay? But okay, dude, like it is what it is. Anyway.
Of a cohesive national culture, and they just don't care about public order at all, and they don't care about crime. It's just this massive, I think...
I'm not naming a specific person, okay? I just like, listen, just but you always know that one IRL person who's just addicted to that one crazy girl because she gives good head, right? Like, yeah, that's the problem I have with this entire political situation. You're addicted to Trump's head. Okay, that did not come out right. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is where I struggle with the left now, where it is actually just a different way of viewing the world. Like, and I remember from when I was a leftist, like, I'll give you an example. When I was a leftist, when I was like 16 or 17 years old, the Cologne sex assault attacks took place in Europe. And I remember when I was like 16 or 17 years old, because I was a leftist, I remember there was a news article like 1,000 women attacked in Cologne on New Year's Eve by Muslim migrants. And I just thought to myself, the instinctual reaction I had was, oh, that must be right-wing propaganda, because I was a leftist. And then now I'm like, no, that actually was a genuine problem that took place in real life. and you can't just go, oh, it's right-wing propaganda, because it is happening in real life. The grooming gangs case in Britain is a great example too. When I was a leftist 5-6 years ago, if you asked me about the grooming gangs, I would have just been like, oh, isn't that just right-wing propaganda? But then when I actually sat down and properly studied it and properly read about it, I was like, my God, it actually is this massive systematic problem. And the reality is that too many people on the left had that reaction that I had when I was like 18, where it's just like, oh no, that's just right-wing propaganda. Let's just not even think about it.
So when Trump makes a tweet,
wait, is he talking about grooming gangs? What?
I would have just been like, a genuine problem that took place in real life. And you can't just go, oh, it's right-wing propaganda, because it is happening in real life. The grooming gangs case in Britain.
Okay, I'm sorry. What is a fucking... Does he even know what grooming means? Does he even know, like, where the majority of grooming even fucking comes from? Well, why the fuck are people just, like, throwing words around without any kind of, like, reflection or any kind of, like, fucking, like anything? It's just so cringe. It's so cringe how people just throw definitions around with no fucking, like, what's the point? Like, what the fuck is the point here? Jesus.
Is a great example too. When I was a leftist 5-6 years ago, if you asked me about the grooming gangs, I would have just been like, oh, isn't that just right?
Like, is the grooming gangs a bunch of fucking babysitters going around until they're like fucking everybody and everything that is in sight? Like, is it just a bunch of like people who propose to be uncles, who it's just like a corporation of uncles who go around in order to maximize grooming or something? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? How could groomers be in a gang? How could in a gang have like a bunch of multiple fucking groomers? And I just don't get what the fuck you're talking about. Like, this is just like so delusional. Like, you don't even know how to use definitions correctly. God, he's such a fucking mark. God, he's so stupid. Fuck.
Propaganda. But then when I actually sat down and properly studied it and properly read about it, I was like, okay, my God, it actually is this massive systematic problem. And the reality is that too many people on the left had that reaction that I had when I was like 18, where it's just like, oh no, that's just right-wing propaganda. Let's just not even think about it.
So when Trump makes a tweet saying Chicago will find out why
allegations of governmental and institutional failures to respond to a problem or to downplay or cover up the issue have been described as a grooming gangs. What? Group-based child sexual abuse and exploitation that occurred mostly in the 1990s and 2010s. Allegations of governmental and institutional failures to respond to the problem or to downplay or to cover up has been described as the grooming gang scandal. Most offenders were white. Studies showing Black and Asian offenders proportionally overrepresented. Okay, so it's not even like accurate to like the way that right is like presenting things, right?
It's called the Department of War. You are saying that is more, that is better for the social cohesion. Hold on, let me finish. That's better for the social cohesion in America than the left. But I'm not asking you if it's bad or good. I'm asking you, is it better or worse than the left?
But Wick, this is frustrating because I think what Drew and I are both trying to express is both sides are off the fucking rail.
Okay,
so it's like,
but when we have to choose between both,
but Tally, you have a fucking like. You have a clear fucking... Like, where exactly is the pushback against Drew here, who is now a defined conservative? Like, you say both sides are off the fucking rail, but you are the one who is, like, being so fucking anti-left right now, despite the fact that there is a liberal and there's a conservative on this fucking panel. If you are really a moderate, you would also push back against Drew. But instead, you're doing every single possible thing in order to cover for Drew, right? It's just so stupid. Like, it's actually so moronic. It's just, I don't know. I'm just
sides. You have to be able to measure which is worse.
Okay, let me respond.
Okay, let him respond. Let him answer the question. Yeah.
Like, what's worse? Let's talk about social cohesion in America. Okay, there's two things here, right? And I'm not trying to do whataboutism, but this is something we need to discuss.
Sounds like it.
Of course, again, I'm condemning what Trump said. It's bad. He shouldn't say Department of War. He shouldn't make gloating posts like that. The social media shit is stupid.
Again, it doesn't matter if you say it's bad if you're never going to change your mind, right? Because again, saying something is bad or you're saying you dislike something implies that you have a limit in which once you've reached that limit, you're going to change your mind. If you don't change your mind, then what exactly is the point of saying that it's bad or you dislike it, right? It just makes no sense.
Agree in general. I agree in broad terms with deportations. When they did stuff like the Studio Ghibli pics and stuff like that, it's stupid. It's performative. It is literally performative.
Hold on. You understand that the grossness that you felt when people were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. These are what people were celebrating with the deportations.
Look, listen, yes, I'm wearing glasses right now, and yes, without any kind of prescription eyewear or something, I am practically just blind. I am stumbling through life, okay? I am stumbling through life, I'm practically blind, okay? If I don't have any kind of eyewear or anything like that, I'm just very, 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 very exposed, okay?
Alligator Alcatraz buying merch, turning it into a fucking theme park, right? Like, to say that the right is better on this issue than the left
not saying it's
is...
better. I'm not saying
Not
it's better.
lie.
I think the problem is that in general, there's basically like a level of deportations that Democrats just will never accept. Like, you literally get this argument where people will literally just say, well, even illegal immigrants are part of the country. And so they have literally no conception of...
Obama was known as a deporter-in-chief, okay? What do you mean the left would never expect?
I agree with that. A lot of leftists hate that. A lot of leftists hate that. A lot of leftists hate Obama.
Sure, but Obama's on the left.
Yeah, but those
in some ways,
yes.
In some ways, no.
Those weren't the same types of things, and Obama was doing the much easier job that the Biden administration in some ways neglected to do, which was the deportations that Obama was doing was immediately sending people back over the border. What Trump is endeavoring
Democrats
to do is much more
by
difficult.
and large,
and I'm not motivated by that.
I want to say this, right? Here was one, I'll try to explain one area where I did break a lot with the left, and it comes with national identity. So remember when Mehdi Hassan did that Jubilee?
And no, just to acknowledge, Obama is, like, at least among the Democrats, one of the most beloved figures on our side. Obama is the guy, right? So when we talk about, like, what the left and what the right aren't okay with, like, the left
was not doing the significantly more difficult job of deporting people who are living within the country.
But we're talking about being okay with deportations and what level they are. We absolutely have to acknowledge that Democrats historically have been okay with deporting people. Now you could say that they should do it more, and fair enough, we can have that discussion. But this is what, and let me finish and I'll let you go, Drew, right? This is the problem I'm having with both of your characterizations of these things. You give infinite charity to the right, and it seems like you give no charity to the left.
We're criticizing the sides that we come from.
But it's not both sides.
That we come from.
It's not both sides.
We are criticizing the sides that we come from.
God, dude, the only way Wick can win a debate is if he's arguing against literal fucking toddlers. Like he's literally arguing against, like, brain dead fucking toddlers, and that's the only way Wick can ever look good in a debate. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm being too mean to Wick. You know what? I respect Wick, okay, for having the correct opinion just this once, okay? I'll probably go back to hating Wick tomorrow, but, you know, hey, you know, at least in this fucking debate with fucking Drew and Tally, I think that Wick is holding his own, and he's doing fine, okay? Like, he is the one that is actually bringing up examples here, and Tally and Drew is just bringing up vibes, but, you know, hey. You're not taking Pavlou seriously, right? No, I'm not. He is 100. He gives off, like, very heavy fucking spite-based politics grifter vibes. Yeah, of course I'm not taking him seriously. He debated Destiny's fucking kid without, like, getting any kind of express permission from Destiny himself, the father, despite having a bridge with him. Yeah, of course I'm not taking him seriously. This guy is a fucking moron inbred. Like, he's always been a clown, no matter when he was a neoliberal or not, right? Or presenting or calling himself a neoliberal.
That we are more familiar with, that we have more critique of, because again, that is where we come from. That's where more of our values lie. That's why we're spending more time criticizing the left. And
also fuck any neoliberal who becomes a conservative, okay? I'm sorry, but you betray neoliberal values when you become a conservative. And we should shun any fucking liberal who becomes a conservative, because that is literally the allegation we are fighting against. The allegation that all liberals are just fascists in disguise, right? So the thing is that, yeah, like, fuck Drew especially, yeah, for real.
Because the left seems to have really turned on.
Because, yeah, as a liberal, I would expect you to know better. Yeah, of course.
On hating our civilization.
Traitor.
And no, it's not everyone, Wick.
It's almost no one. It's Hassan and maybe a few others.
It's not almost no one. You're complete. First of all, if it's Hassan and a few others, Hassan is the most popular left-wing political streamer.
He gets like 50,000 people a stream.
If it's that live, yes, watching.
Dude, he's mainstreamed by New York Times. He's mainstreamed by the New York Times. All mainstream liberal media basically hold him up as the voice of the online left. And listen,
the frustration by people like.
Brother, dude, Destiny gets more coverage than fucking Hassan by edgy tweets and segments, okay? Like, Asmongold, a fucking right-winger, right, is larger than Hassan, okay, when he's covering politics as well. So it's like there's just so many aspects where, like, why the fuck do I never hear this about Asmongold? Like, why the fuck do I never hear, like, the same complaints from Drew and Tally about Asmongold? I mean, maybe they have, but I just never fucking sing it, right? It just tells me how, like, disingenuous this entire fucking thing is. Fuck me, dude.
Drew and me are how people on the left don't seem to care and take this stuff seriously. And
just don't take
that's... It's
Go
gonna continue to push people away.
I want to explain. Here's one way that I did break a lot with the left, and it was on the conception of national identity. So I saw Mehdi Hassan do that Jubilee thing, and obviously he was going up against like actual psychotic fascists. I debated one of the guys. I think I debated the pink shirt guy from that debate, and he was like a full Groyper Nazi. So I hate those guys. Okay, but here's where I have a disagreement. Mehdi Hassan was sitting down with this guy, and he was saying, "I'm just as American as you." The guy had a family that stretched back to the Mayflower, literally 400 years in the country. And Mehdi Hassan was saying, "I'm just as American as you." And I just disagree with that because he got citizenship like 3 years ago.
Which is more American to you, okay? Which is more American? The guy who got citizenship 3 years ago, who supports the Constitution, who supports the First Amendment, or the guy who's...
Oh, I'm being told Hassan is apparently getting more exposure after the Charlie Kirk shit. Okay, all right, fair enough.
Family, just let me finish my question. The guy whose family has been here since the Mayflower, but he's a socialist Hassan watcher that wants to destroy America. Which would you consider more American in this?
No, in that case, I would say that the guy who got the citizenship and became
yes,
a patriot.
And do you know why? Let me finish, and then you can go. Okay. Let me finish. And do you know why? Because we are not a blood and soil nation. Okay, this heritage American shit is bullshit. We are an American. We are an ideal. We are, as Reagan said, a city on the hill. A shining city on the hill.
I like that, but let me get to what I was saying.
A propositional nation.
Okay.
Drew comes from a family of migrants. Drew agrees with you, but he's saying that there is more.
He was just saying he wasn't agreeing. Tully,
can I explain my point?
Explain your point. Let him explain his point, Tully.
These two things.
I need to explain my point.
Let Drew explain his point.
Okay.
Kill me. Just
I
end
agree.
me.
Okay, theoretically, that's cool that you got a cigar. That's cool. Okay, theoretically, a guy migrates to the country 10 years ago, becomes a citizen, is a full patriot, loves the country, loves Western civilization. Compared to, say, a Hassan, white kid communist who loves Hassan and hates America, but goes back generations. I would agree.
Bro, you are worse than a white kid communist, okay? Because at least a white kid communist, like, at least they're just stuck in the basement all day, all right? You enable the fucking insane fascist right-wing violence in this fucking country right now, okay? You are worse. You are worse. There are more violent attacks from the right than there is from the left, and that's a fact, okay? So yeah, I don't get, like, yeah, this is just a fucking disingenuous, crazy, insane shit.
The migrant is more patriot,
you know,
right?
whatever.
But this is what I want to get to, right? Would you say that Ilhan Omar is a patriot? Would you say that Mehdi Hassan is a patriot? Would you say Hassan Piker is a patriot? What I've got a problem with, even Zoran Mamdani, right? I've got a problem with migrants going to America and going to Western countries more generally, and then they start talking about, oh, America is this disgusting country, the West is so disgusting, the civilization has fallen. I hate that, because you should be grateful, you should be humble, you should actually understand that the country existed before your family went to it. My family went to
stand with,
the 1950s.
Look, Mehdi Hassan, I have disagreed with him, especially on the Israel-Palestine question, quite strongly. But I would consider Mehdi Hassan 1,000 times more American than that fucker, right?
Yeah, because he hates Trump.
Erudite's, would you come back on the show at some point to talk with Erudite with me? Is that something you do, Drew?
Yeah, sure.
She's asking me. Okay, she's on a plane right now, so she can't.
Well, I mean, Drew would grab at any chance. Like, his answer is automatically going to be yes, right? Jesus. Also, who wouldn't, right? Like, fuck. Isn't this supposedly the Destiny's version of Ghislaine Maxwell? By the way, which is a ridiculous claim. But I'm just saying, like, who wouldn't want to talk to someone who is literally the left-hand woman of Destiny? But yeah, I say left hand because you know who's right hand, right? Just kidding. Okay, I'm the third mutated arm of Destiny.
Jump on, or she would, right? But
like,
we'll have that. Okay.
I can't conceive in 100 million years a reality where I can see Mehdi Hassan as an American. Because I'll explain to you right.
And also,
why.
did you say Ilhan Omar?
She's not American. She hates America.
Hold on. She's definitionally
American. I understand
American.
she's a citizen. I know she's a legal American, but I think she hates America, and therefore
what has Jesus Christ? Drew is just far right now. What the fuck? Like, I feel like, bro, he said Ilhan Omar. Jesus Christ, I don't even think I would say something like that. What the fuck? And I don't even think I like Ilhan Omar. What the fuck? Dude, that's crazy. Okay, all right.
She said or done that.
So I'm so glad. I'm so glad that Tally is just fully endorsing this fucking sexism as well. Great stuff.
Makes you think a sitting congresswoman hates America.
It's so obvious, dude. It's so obvious. Just
then you should be able to explain easy.
She said that white people are the greatest risk to America. She literally comes to America as a migrant to a country that was mainly built up by European Americans, and then she says, "Oh, white men are actually the greatest danger to the country." She obviously has a lot of racial resentment against white Americans. It's pretty obvious. She hates white people.
I wouldn't say she hates white people.
Bro, Drew just wouldn't get a job, so the best thing he could do is grift. Oh my god. Dude, he literally grifts off of, like, fucking destroying... Dude, we've all heard... Why the fuck would you even record that fucking phone call of, like, you, like, talking, like, screaming at your dad, and your dad screaming at you to get a job? Like, why the fuck would you even record that? Like, how are you not, like, fucking... like, embarrassed to even be here in the first place after that fucking phone, like, after that fucking in-person argument? Like, Jesus Christ, your family wants you to go get a fucking job. Like, you're so fucking embarrassing. Holy shit, you're such a loser.
Well, I think I disagree with her on this take, but to say that she hates white people is a gross misread, I think, of this statement.
It's worse. Drew is referencing the insane conspiracy that Omar married her brother and lied on her immigration paperwork. Oh my god. If that's true, isn't like that would be a far right theory, right? If that is, then Drew is just completely bought into like fucking borderline neo-Nazi shit. Then,
let me explain to you what really triggers me. I saw Mehdi Hassan and Ilhan Omar, and they're doing this kind of interview, and they're talking about like how, oh yeah, we formally disagree with the murder of Charlie Kirk, but here's all the way that he's disgusting, and it's like, okay, let me.
Yes, you can do that because he was disgusting in a lot of ways. That's not condoning anything.
Let me explain what's wrong. Mehdi Hassan went to America and like literally less than 10 years ago became a citizen 3 years ago. Ilhan Omar, her father was literally...
You know what? I'm just glad that Wick is not playing with... Oh, he's jumping on Trump's Ilhan shit from yesterday? Oh, okay, Jesus. He's referencing saw it from Trump yesterday. Why the fuck is he believing Trump? Oh, no. Nah, I shouldn't be surprised. Nah, he's a fucking loser. Jesus. Donald Trump. Ilhan Omar's country of Somalia is plagued by a lack of central government control, persistent poverty, hunger, resurgent terrorism, blah, blah, blah. Okay, don't care. All of this, and Ilhan Omar tells us how to run America. P.S. Wasn't she the one that married her brother in order to gain citizenship? What scum we have in our country telling us what to do and how to do it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Okay, great. So he's just fucking referencing Trump. That's just great. That's just fantastic shit right here.
A war criminal from Somalia as part of...
Who even is this dude? A nobody. A fucking grifter who grifted his way upwards, okay? It's so cringe. Yeah, it's just so fucking cringe.
The communist regime in Somalia that literally carried out a genocide. He was literally a colonel in a genocidal military. And in a communist genocidal military, comes to America. They both should be a little bit more humble. Instead, they go, oh yeah, this guy whose family goes back 400 years in America, here's all the ways in which his actually death is essentially almost morally... I
don't give a shit about his fathers. What has he done? This is a problem I have with this way of thinking. You do not get by osmosis to absorb what you have...
Bro, Wick is my hero. He is my hero and dear friend in this debate right now, okay? I dislike Wick. I don't like him, okay? I really don't. But the thing is, and the reality is that Wick is not treating this debate with kids' gloves. He's not treating these two with kids' gloves. He's not treating even his female co-host with kids' gloves. So yeah, you know what? Yeah, I put some respect. Put some respect. Yeah, I do. I will put some respect on Wick's name in this specific instance, okay? Again, he'll probably say some stupid fucking shit again, okay? But, like, yeah, in this specific case, yeah, I will put respect on his name. Yeah, I will. Good. Good for you, Wick, okay? You're doing good, okay? Jesus.
Done. This is... Look. It's the same people who sit and tell me, like, well, my daddy was a veteran. I don't give a shit until you strap up and sign up. You don't get any respect for what your daddy did, frankly.
Okay, let me give you a hypothetical. Okay, say tomorrow I jump the border on the southern border in America, and I'm literally living in America illegally. Say that happens tomorrow. Then suddenly I go onto your podcast and I say, oh, half the Democratic Party should all be killed. You would say, you're not an American, fuck off. Okay, you would say that. So why is it that Ilhan Omar gets to come to America as a migrant? Like probably literally lied on the citizenship series. Because seriously, they come from a communist background, a communist genocidal military, comes to America and...
But who cares about what their background is? What about her as a fucking person? You can criticize maybe her like fucking cringe progressive beliefs and her cringe progressive policies and shit. But dude, what does this have to do with like Ilhan Omar the person? Like fuck, like do we not see examples of like liberals coming out of conservative families? Isn't like that isn't that the kids of Taylor Robinson? Like Oh my god.
And then she gets to go, oh, here are all these people who should basically be
so
killed. I don't care if they've been...
Hold on.
Yeah,
When did she say a group of people in America should be killed? Can you give me that clip or that quote?
Because Charlie Kirk was essentially the largest right-wing media commentator in America, essentially basically represented the views of 78 million people. And she's saying he's evil, fascist. I don't think he should die, but here's all the reasons why it's basically good that he died. And she literally came to
She's not saying it's good that she died, that he died.
It's pretty obvious, dude.
It's not obvious. You're reading it and you're playing this game.
Okay,
You're playing this
okay.
game
Wait,
where you're saying,
let
hold
me
on,
give you
because
a
even if someone was fascist, if I thought that you were a fascist, I don't think that that gives me the right to kill you. There are many options to deal with fascism other than killing them, right? We have for years in this country. We've had actually years in this country where Nazis, right, have gone in. Are you familiar with the Skokie trials in the 70s? Basically, the ACLU argued for the rights of neo-Nazis in America.
Yeah, I think that's stupid. I think the ACLU is retarded for that.
Hold on.
I don't know.
What? That's insane to me. I'm sorry. That's fucking unhinged. Okay, I'm sorry, Australian, okay? Person who doesn't live in America. I'm sorry that you think the ACLU is stupid for arguing for someone's fucking right to free speech. That an attack on free speech is an attack to all on free speech. Okay, dude. Okay, dude. Dude, oh my god. Dude, he's just so... Fuck this guy. Dude, honestly, fuck this. Bro, my blood pressure is going up, okay? My blood pressure is going dangerously up because of this guy, okay? Fuck this guy.
The head of the ACLU at the time was a Holocaust survivor, okay? He was a Jew.
I think that's retarded.
Okay, but what he said, and you can disagree with...
Okay, you're gonna tell a fucking Holocaust survivor that he's retarded as fuck. And honestly, good. I don't know if this is within Wick's calculation. I don't think this is within Wick's calculation, okay? But Tally is Jewish, okay? Maybe she'll, maybe he thinks that him bringing up this example of him being a Jew, more sympathetic to Tally, make her see more reason, right? But you know what? If she doesn't, then yeah, she is just like a fucking full-on, fucking moron, but okay.
Think it's retarded. He says, yes, having freedom of speech and allowing these people to protest, that's a risk. But what's a certainty of eroding our freedoms and having a second Holocaust is if we take their freedoms from them, because that's how freedom works. Yep. They will always take it for the people who are considered bad first. That's the thin end of the wedge. And we see this again and again and again.
There's something that Destiny said recently that felt relevant to this. He said that he would defend Prime Kai again, despite all the things that Prime Kai has done, despite all the point of views that Prime Kai has. I think Destiny said recently that he would defend Prime Kai again. Why does he say that? It's because an attack on one is an attack on all when it comes to these kinds of allegations, okay? Because you have to do what's right, okay? And yeah, in my opinion, this is exactly the kind of mentality you should have. I don't fucking know, dude. It's just so cringe, so insane. Okay, all right, wait, hold on. Is it ready for you? Oh.